Hello, my name is Kwame Carr, and my genius is educational leadership. I've been documented twice on YouTube through the Georgia Department of Education and Georgia Public Broadcasting. You can find these videos on YouTube by simply typing in my name, Kwame Carr, with 2 R's. I'm also the author of 2 books. They can be found on Amazon.com by typing in my name once again. Being a turnaround principal has been an exciting adventure for me. I never really thought that I would be a teacher, but as time has progressed, it has become my calling to be a leader in the educational realm. I actually started out being a fireman, and I had several positions within the educational field since then, being substitute teacher, also being a social studies teacher, math teacher, and instructional coach in mathematics at the elementary school level. I've been a middle school assistant principal, a high school assistant principal, middle school principal, and now I am an executive director of schools, which means I now supervise principals. I'm not going to sit here today and give you information about how you need to stay in school and how important education is. You can find a million videos talking about that, I am quite sure. I would be, however, remiss if I don't talk about the current status of African Americans and of education in general in the United States of America. As you know, African Americans are no longer the first minority group. We are the second behind Hispanics and Latinos. They outnumber us 3-1. There has been a population boom as of late, and we are now considered number 3 as far as the total population in the United States. If you look at the teacher population, 81% of all teachers are white, most of them being female. 9% of teachers are Hispanic or Latino. 6% of teachers are African American females. Less than 2% of all teachers are African American males. And the rest, about 3 or so percent, are a mix of other races and nationalities and ethnicities. With that being said, we have a lot of work to do in the African American community because the teacher preparatory programs around the United States are shrinking in numbers. People are not enrolling in teacher programs anymore. One of those reasons is because of the commentary that we continually share around the United States about the decrease in the educational value that public schools are offering our parents and students. This is actually hindering our process as we go forward as a people. So we need to start revisiting how we engage in our schools and how we prepare our students and what kind of things we have them say about our schools and the belief systems that we even have about our own kids. Because eventually, when the teacher shortage hits, and it's already here, we're about 100,000 teachers short around the United States today. And that number is going to continue to increase as time goes on. So at some point, there's going to have to be a coalition between black parents, black students, and white teachers. Bottom line, we're going to have to go to class, do what we're supposed to do. We're going to have to start reading to our kids when the kid is in the womb. Read to them all the way up until they go to school. We're going to have to make sure they know their timetables by 3rd grade. These are things that we can do in our community to ensure that our kids are on par when they get to school, because we're simply not doing that. We need to bridge our racial communication with each other, because the direction that the country is going with all of the turbulence and all of the friction, we are totally headed down the wrong path. We need to engage in these courageous conversations, because at the end of the day, the statistics that I just read to you will not change until 2060. This is not information that I'm making up. This is information that is coming from the demographers who sit around and calculate these statistics for us to digest. So in a nutshell, we're going to be exposed to primarily white teachers or teachers that don't look like us, and statistics already show that students perform better when you have people that look like you in the classroom, because the expectations of the teachers are higher and the students feel more comfortable. That's a proven fact that cannot be argued. And so we're not going to have that luxury going forth. So we're going to have to do something differently if we're going to be able to compete going forth in the educational realm. We can sit around and talk about how important education is, but we have to realize that we are up against a separate challenge. We need to get our kids involved. We need to convince our kids to go into education, because right now there's no competition. Imagine if you go into education and you do a phenomenal job. I've had a good run in education. It's been very good to me, and I'm not finished. I have plenty to do. If I plan to retire, then I have 10 more years, and there are not too many more steps I can take in a public school setting because I'm pretty high up on the totem pole. So now I'm reaching out, trying to do other things and trying to gain more possibilities so that I can enlighten others so that they can be engaged in the educational process, not only with their child, but by convincing their children to become educators. It's a good place to be. If we're only African American men, if we're only 2%, less than 2%, imagine the possibilities that you have. I know you're saying, well, they don't pay that much. Well, get in there and grind it out. And if you're sufficient and if you have a little bit of common sense, guess what's going to happen to you? You're not going to have any competition. You're going to rise quickly. You're going to be more effective. You're going to be able to affect more change, more positive change. And then you can create others to come behind you. And then we'll have more and more people in the position to help our kids to rise. But in the meantime, we need to bridge our gaps. And if there are white people who are listening to this, some of my best teachers were white teachers. My 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Older, was the first to ever tell me, Kwame, you're a genius. I carry that with me today. Ms. Majors, 7th grade teacher. She was awesome. I remember all of my teachers, but most of my teachers happen to be African American, and a lot of my teachers happen to be Black because I reside in the city of Atlanta, where there are Black and African American teachers everywhere. Then I went on to Morehouse College, which was a continuation of greatness. And that's why I know who I am. That's why I'm able to contribute to society, and that I'm on your team, whether you're Black, white, or Asian, or Hispanic, doesn't matter to me. But we have to give our children a shot too, and that begins at home. And it continues in the school system. And when we get there to your classes, white America, we need you to work with us. But Black America, you need to also understand that we have to do what we need to do at home first. Read to your child, expect them to go to school and do what they're supposed to do. Follow instructions, listen. These are skills that are taught at home. If your child is sitting in the 3rd grade and they're leaving 3rd grade and they don't know their timetables, that's a parent issue. That's index cards, a number 2 pencil with 3 times 4 on the front and 12 on the back. Flipping them on the bed, on the floor, on the table. That's not a teacher issue. So we need to get serious about education, because these things that are causing our kids to be labeled as special ed are not special ed issues. These are lazy issues. Bottom line, I see it all the time. It's time to wake up, people. Let's get it together. They're paying teachers in some districts $20,000 extra bonus to come work with our kids, and they're turning it down, saying no. In one particular district, there were 300 people who were qualified to leave their schools to come down to schools in the South Side, and 3 teachers took them up on the offer, $20,000. Because of behavior issues. That's something we control at home. So we need to stop pointing the finger, and everybody's guilty. Everybody's guilty. The parents are guilty, the teachers are guilty, Black folks are guilty, the white folks are guilty. So we need to get this together. We need this healing to take place, and we need it to take place now. Otherwise, we're going to continue to spiral down as we're doing now. Just turn on the news. My name is Kwame Carr, and I had the pleasure of speaking to you. I know we can do it because genius is common.